eye patches. So my friend who has this restaurant, it's closed on Sundays, and he offered his table space. So we went there with all our decorations and glue, and you know, he had a meeting there with another girl, and she's like, "Oh, like is that why you have Sunday off? Is it like a daycare or something here?" And then all of a sudden, us 24 to 34-year-olds start walking in, and we start decorating eye patches. It felt like I was in grade 1 again, but it was actually super fun. So that was the first patch party I did, and I think we designed maybe 50 patches. At this point, I didn't even know what I was doing with this. It was just fun to design them, and I thought maybe something could come about it. And so I started a website. It still exists today, actually. I'll write it down. I'll write it down after. Called Patches.mov. And I decided to sell my eye patches for $20, and the proceeds would go towards my trip to India to get this testing done. I then thought I should have, you know, a day where people wear their eye patches. So I decided to make up a day, Crystal Patches Day, get the media involved, and promote this Crystal Patches Day. And I think I sold maybe 250 eye patches for Crystal Patches Day. And my poor mother, she's a seamstress, so she actually ended up sewing hand by, you know, one by one, each eye patch individually, which I think she made like 500 with the help of my auntie as well. 500 eye patches, and we'd have a bunch of patch parties. We'd decorate 1 million patches, sold them all, and we had our Crystal Patches Day where everyone wore their patch on that day, and people would all look at them all funny and ask them, "Hey, what's that?" And they're like, "Oh, it's a crystal patch. Check out her website." And you know, my hits on my website drastically grew, and I started to raise, you know, a ton of money. Yeah.
What day is Crystal Patches Day?
You know what? I don't even think I can remember. Yeah, I think it was like June 10th or something. I can't even remember. Yeah, it was June 10th. Yeah. I can't even remember. I'm going to have another Crystal Patches Day. We'll see. I don't know if it'll be the same day. I also, every year, I always throw a big fundraiser around that time for the MS Bike Tour, and this year I decided to do one for myself. Last year, I actually did one, it was a singles auction, and we auctioned off 10 guys and 10 girls on dates. And we raised 20 grand just in one night, so it was super successful, and I sort of had a reputation for throwing a good party. So I was like, okay, I gotta throw myself a good party, so I'm gonna throw a big patch party. So I did that, and everyone just showed up and wore their eye patches. I had my friend who's in a band, she sang, co-worker is a DJ, and he DJ'd some music. We had donations, gift donations from people, you know, Jessica Gregg donated a laptop, things like that, to the silent auction. Another fun event that we had was, you guys all know who Denny Morrison is, I'm sure? Well, he got up on stage, rolled up his legs, and for every, I think $50 or $100 that we raised through the crowd, he would wax a strip off of his legs for MS. So we had Denny up there, and I think Shannon Rempel waxing his legs, and my sister Kelly. And for every $50 to $100, so you can just imagine all his competitors or friends just giving him a hard time, just throwing their money at us to wax Denny's legs, and that was a big event that we had. So before that event even happened, I actually raised enough money for myself to go to India, and I kind of knew that in the back of my mind, and I knew that I was going to raise an extra amount of money. Well, this was not planned, but it just so happened that my friend Ali, who has progressive MS, he was diagnosed at the same time as me, and I have relapsed remitting MS, meaning I can recover. He unfortunately has a more progressive form, meaning, you know, it's a struggle for him to get from point A to point B. And, you know, it breaks my heart to see someone like that. You know, I'm at a pretty good point if I'm still able to race, where when someone else who has the same disease as me can barely even walk. So he actually came to support me in my fundraiser to go to India. And when I saw him there, and I saw how much people were just donating, of course, to see Denny wax his legs, I knew I was going to raise a lot of money. And I told myself, I'm like, no matter what, you are going to raise $10,000 to get Ali to go to India or wherever to get this testing done as well. So I was actually given the opportunity to have one of the best moments I think I'll ever have in my life. I'm just bawling when I announce it, but I called Ali up on stage and I said, I want you to get this testing done, and I want you to improve, and I want to raise $10,000 for you as well. So that was a pretty cool opportunity. And like I mentioned before, there's been so many cool opportunities that have come my way, and they just would never have happened if I never had, if everything was just smooth sailing and I just kept improving and being top speed skater in Canada and making the Olympics. And, my journey would have been much, much different and a little less exciting, I guess, in comparison to now. So I got to send Ali to go to India now, or to wherever he wants to get this testing done. Now, I had my trip planned to India, and I'm going with not Ali, but another close friend, an MS patient who has progressive MS and also can barely even walk. We both go to India and we get tested. Now, she gets tested. She has she has blocked veins, so this is what the testing for. So she has 65 and I think 52% blockages in her left jugular vein, which could be a cause of many of her symptoms. And opening these veins could make for a lot of relief. So she ends up getting the procedure done. She gets relief, and I get to watch her take her first steps for the first time in 10 years. So that was, you can just imagine the goosebumps that I felt then and the tears that were coming down then, and it was just a cool experience. Unfortunately for myself, or at the time it seemed unfortunate, I got tested and I had no problems with my veins. So they didn't have to do anything. So I'm lying on the surgery table and I'm crying and I'm disappointed and thinking that all that work, all that energy that I did is all for nothing. And then Dr. Hussein talked to me, and this is when, this is what I think about still today. I mean, it wasn't that long ago. But he looked at me and he said, "Crystal, I am the top neurosurgeon in all of India. I'm very scientifically, he's a very scientifically minded person. He studies the body, the chemistry, the physiology of humans. And he does surgery after surgery after surgery. And he tells me, he says, there is no surgery and no medication in this world that is more powerful than what you have already." And I said, "What do you mean?" I'm crying. I'm like, I just want to get cured. And he said, "The power of your mind is going to be more powerful than absolutely anything that you can do, with drugs or with a surgery." I later had, 2 weeks to travel around India, and I realized their culture there. And it was pretty inspirational because it was all along that line. They all sort of believed that, just staying positive and healthy, and that should be your medicine. That's your therapy. And like